So with the release of the Snyder Cut, I'm in the mood to talk DCEU. So today we are going to rank all 15 DCEU villains. So hi, my name is Nathan, and I started the show because I do a bunch of free stuff on my time. If you're new here, consider clicking that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, click that like button too, and remember to share your ranking down below of all the DCEU villains. Without further ado, let's get started. So we'll start off with some honorable mentions that will go to Black Mask and Victor Zsasz. Now, these two are villains that I don't really know, but then, because they're from the movie Birds of Prey, and I have not watched that movie, but if you did happen to watch Birds of Prey, and include those villains down below in the comment section. Also, fun fact, the Victor Zsasz poster and the Black Mask poster, if you if you put them together like this, it seems as if they connect. And that probably happens with all the other Birds of Prey character posters also, so that's a pretty cool thing to see. Now let's get started with the real ranking. At number 15, in last place, is Enchantress from Suicide Squad. Now, Enchantress from Suicide Squad is the least interesting villain in the entire DCEU. She looks very weird, and her voice sounds even weirder, and she's just another generic villain like we see in some other movies. A perfect example of that would be Dr. Doom from Fantastic. But she's one of those villains. She has a sky beam with garbage floating around the city, so we'll start off with that. And now, so yeah, that's going to be my take on Enchantress from Suicide Squad. But also, my dad, while we were watching Suicide Squad, my dad, he pointed out that the finale of Suicide Squad kind of looked like a ripoff of the 1984 version of Ghostbusters. So, we have that. At number 14, Steppenwolf from Justice League and the Snyder Cut. Now, Steppenwolf is a villain in which he has a lot of potential in him, but that's undermined because he's like a generic space lord inside of the movie he's in. So, and if you see the Snyder Cut trailers, you would think that Zack Snyder would change that and Darkseid would be the main villain. Well, you would think wrong, because Darkseid barely appears in that movie too, and that's why I didn't even include him on this list. You will not see him in this list, because he doesn't do anything in the movie. He doesn't get nearly as much screen time as he should. Steppenwolf, on the bright side, Steppenwolf does look better than he did in the theatrical cut of the movie Justice League. At number 13, Ares from Wonder Woman. Now, Ares is a very underutilized character because instead of being this very god of war that appears in a lot of battles in the movie Wonder Woman, they decided to use him as this twist villain that doesn't appear all the way until the end of the movie. So as much as I like the character of Ares and the actor that plays Ares, he's not really a character in which I enjoy. And also, when he does appear in action, it's a very generic battle at the end of Wonder Woman. And I've said it before that the final battle of Wonder Woman isn't the best action I have seen. So unfortunately, as much as I love the movie Wonder Woman, Ares has to be this low on the list. At number 12, we're going to go with Doomsday from Batman v Superman. Now, Doomsday, honestly, I have no problems with Doomsday, except for the fact that he doesn't get as much screen time as he should. And the way he's created is very complex and convoluted, just like the movie Batman v Superman itself. And he's this really cool monster, like this rock monster that could battle Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in that movie. And he's great for a boss fight, but he has no motivation, and he's pretty useless in this kind of role. At number 11, Joker from Suicide Squad. Now I love the villain of Joker in the DC comics, and as much as I like Joker, this version of Joker is just low hanging, and he's the most disturbing version of Joker we've ever gotten on the big screen. A big part of that is he has some really strange dialogue, and he also has really weak characterization. He's very creepy at times, which shouldn't be a characterization for Joker. He wasn't made that much interesting as this in the Snyder Cut when he's in Batman's Nightmares. I think Batman's Nightmares in and of itself was interesting, but that Joker cameo is not so. And why is he a side character in this movie and made Deadshot one of the main characters and Captain Boomerang and stuff instead of Joker as one of the main characters? So it's very heartbreaking for me to put Joker this low on the list. At number 10, General Ludendorff and Dr. Poison from Wonder Woman. In a lot of ways, they're pretty made interesting because they're these bad guys that make poison gas and stuff. Like what holds them back is that I think they're a nice addition to Wonder Woman. Like I said, like the third act, the final battle is pretty weak and some bad CGI, but I thought these two villains were a nice addition to add into the mix. At number 9, the 7 Deadly Sins from Shazam. I see the 7 Deadly Sins in the movie Shazam as these statues that turn into monsters and they eat people. It's fun to see them in battles. For example, the battle when when Shazam fights them, it's pretty cool to see those things. But this is not. This is just I don't even have words for them. They're not really interesting. They have no motivation, just like Doomsday, because they're monsters that don't really talk. So I can't say much about these villains. At number 8, we have Cheetah from Wonder Woman 1984. Now, I'm not the hugest fan of Wonder Woman 1984, and I did give a positive review, but some of the negativity on Wonder Woman 1984 for me is the villains, one of them being Cheetah. Now the truth is, I don't prefer Cheetah. I just prefer Barbara Minerva helping Diana on her journey. Like, for the first 3/4 of the movie, she was really helpful to the story, and she's just she was still helping Diana on her quest to save Max from letting people suffer. So it's pretty made interesting. But then as you move into that final 25% of the movie, Cheetah becomes an actual cheetah, and I don't think it really works. Because she's a literal cheetah, so I don't think that worked well enough for this villain. At number 7, we have Lex Luthor from Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now Lex Luthor is one of the most distracting characters in the DCEU because he's a version of Lex Luthor who is unlike any Lex Luthor we've seen on the big screen before. In Superman 1, he's this crime lord who's trying to kill Superman. In this movie, he has a point of view of Superman as well as Bruce Wayne, which was pretty made interesting. But then there's this really weird scene where Lex Luthor feeds people candy. It's really weird in the movie. So this is a frustrating one for me to place on this list. At number 6, we have Amanda Waller from Suicide Squad. She was a real villain in this movie because she was actually pretty mean-spirited inside of the movie because she killed her staff just because they know a lot, for one, and also she implanted bombs in our Suicide Squad's neck. She is responsible for millions of deaths, and she's a great villain who has a lot of motivation and potential to her. The thing that holds her back for me is that she was in the movie Suicide Squad, so there's one. And also, I don't think she gets enough screen time in the movie as she should. If she got a little more screen time, she probably would have become higher on this list. Kicking off our top 5 is Max Lord from Wonder Woman 1984. Now, this was a really interesting one for me because I like Star Wars and I like The Mandalorian. But for me, they used this character in sort of an odd way. Like, after I saw Wonder Woman 1984, I never looked at The Mandalorian the same way again. And he's kind of weird in this movie because, of course, he's a Mandalorian actor, but he's not acting all that Mandalorian-ish. But this is an interesting one because he's not necessarily a villain because he wants to protect his son, but then his son becomes in danger, and he wants to save the world, but then the world becomes in chaos, and he doesn't mean any of that. So he's not necessarily a villain, but he's rather a very interesting one to me. At number 4, we have King Orm, or Ocean Master from Aquaman. Now, Aquaman is a very wacky movie. Orm has a lot of potential to him, and I think he almost lived up to that. A big part of that is that I just like the performance of him, and I like how he's sort of cool in some action scenes, and he's a lot of fun to see in screen. It's really funny when he puts his costume on. I don't have much to say about Orm, but I just really like this character of him. It's cool to see him fight Aquaman in this arena. There's some really cool stuff they did with him, so it's made interesting enough. Kicking off our top three, Zod from Man of Steel. Zod also has a lot of motivation to him. Like, so he wants to get Superman because I don't have much to say about Zod either. I just really like him. In a way, they find a way to make a very compelling villain that has motivation. He's played by an actor that fits him perfectly, and his fights with Superman in Man of Steel, that was some of the best Superman action we've ever seen on the big screen, and some of that goes to Zod. So he's a pretty cool villain. Our runner-up, we're gonna go with Black Manta. Now, Black Manta, Flat Pancake Head, is a really cool villain. He hasn't got a lot of screen time in the movie Aquaman, in the movie Aquaman, but they've done a lot of the screen time they have done with him. In that credit scene, we're wondering where we're going with him, and that got me a little more excited for Aquaman 2. And Black Manta is a lively character. He steals every scene he's in, and He has some very cool powers. Like there's this Tony Stark sequence that he does in the movie. All in all, very fleshed out, awesome villain. But coming in at number 1 is Dr. Sivana from Shazam. In a lot of ways, for me, he's the most interesting villain out of all of these characters. In the whole movie, we have this backstory about him being bullied by his brother and his dad, and that's really interesting for me. And then he rolls his magic 8-ball, and he ends up at this wizard place, and the wizard tells him that he is not worthy. That there is very, very interesting. Now, as much as I thought he was interesting in the movie, another part of him is that he has really cool fights with Shazam, and I think Shazam is the funniest film in the DCEU, and he has really funny sequences in the movie. So for me, he is my favorite villain in the DCEU. Be sure to share your ranking of all the DCEU villains down below in the comment section. If you happen to watch Birds of Prey, include Victor Zsasz and Black Mask in your list down below. If you like this video, click that like button. I have more DC related content on my channel. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.